Welcome to the online challenging behavior series, Top Tips to Prevent, Reduce, and Address Toddler Aggression. I'm Raylene Osberg. I am an early childhood specialist and founder of Thriving Together, here to bring you critical information that will help decrease your stress, increase your success, and really enhance your joy while you're caring for young children. That is my absolute goal and what I've dedicated my life to. Let's get started. So the last point of action is during. So no matter how perfect you are, no matter how attuned, no matter how able you are to look at what's going on behind it and catch it, monitor that intensity, and then prompt them about what you want them to do. To have a plan, eliminate distractions, get at their level, label what you observe happening, and then prompt them what you want them to do. You can do all that perfectly. Toddlers still will have aggressive acts. Their brain is not fully developed. Their executive functions will not even be fully developed till they're in their mid-20s. They're not going to be perfect. So what can you do during that moment it happens? Help! So you guys tell me, raise your hand if you think yelling at a 2-year-old who just hit is helpful. Not helpful. Nobody raise their hand. I'm not surprised. How about lecturing in that moment? You know, when you hit your sister, she gets really mad at you and then she was not going to want to play with you. Lecturing to a toddler is not helpful. They're going to hear wah, 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 right? Like the Charlie Brown teacher. Lecturing, not helpful. How about yelling at the baby? You know you're not supposed to bite. No biting. Does that help? Surprise, no one's raising their hand. Now, of course, you guys know this. It's not helpful. We might find ourselves doing it when us ourselves don't have a plan, when we're not relaxed, when we're super stressed out, when we're in that moment where we just lose it. We might have some of these negative responses, but they're not helpful. Working with aggression, tip number 1, use an influential stance. So Michael Grinder wrote a beautiful book called Envoy. He studied it. He observed the teachers who are really able to get kids to do what they want them to do, stop doing what they need them to stop doing. They have less aggression, less negative behaviors. What are they doing? And he watched their nonverbals. And one of the big things was this stance that we take when we're dealing with a big challenge. Our natural first gut response is called a power response. Imagine this is a toddler I'm caring for. Here's my toddler. Toddler's playing with a toy. And then another toddler, we'll have it be my lion, is coming to take the toy. So here I am, I'm over here, I'm working, and all of a sudden, I hear them screaming again. And Miss Bunny is always taking toys. So I know she's taking a toy once again. So I hear, come over. My first natural response is to go, Bunny, no, do not take toys. No taking toys. Now you give that toy back to him. Give that toy back to him. Give it back. Power stance. It's loud. It's a lot of words. It's angry. I'm breathing up here. And what happens with mirror neurons, that's where you literally end up making the face or making the expression or having the feelings I'm having, because we recreate this feeling. So if I go, yeah, you're more likely to smile. If I go, ugh, you're more likely to get a grimace on your face. Could you feel the difference? So if I come up to Bunny and I'm like, that creates something in Bunny. And Bunny wants to either fight, oh, no, I'm not going to give it to you. Flight, run away from me, or freeze. Brain shut off, not learning. We don't want to create fight, flight, or freeze. What we want to create is calmer, more effective response in the child. So we need to come in calm. So with influential stance, what it is it's non-threatening. So it's deep belly breathing. So everybody take your hand and put it on your belly right now. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Now let it out slowly through your mouth. Now, I'm going to have a different response, even just based on that one breath. So I hear over. I come in. I'm going to avoid eye contact. So instead of look at me, which creates that I'm going to overpower you, but it also creates that fight, flight, freeze mode in the child. So instead of face to face, look at me, I'm going to come to the side of the child. So I'm going to come to the side in a non-threatening way. I'm going to use very few words and a quiet voice. So imagine you're in a live session of mine, and I've already talked about how you shouldn't be on your cell phone. You should be connecting with me, and I get distracted if you're on your cell phone. So please don't use your cell phone. But you have an emergency or something, so you're looking down at your cell phone just quick, and I go, oh, in front of everybody, ma'am, I asked you not to be on your cell phone. That's very distracting. How rude. Can you put yourself in that place? How would you feel? How would you feel about me? Would you be panicking a little bit? Would you be fight, flight, or freeze? Would you just want to get out of there? Would you want to yell back at me? Yeah. So we don't want to create that. So we're going to come in with a quiet, private voice. When you've made a mistake, you don't want people to call it out in front of everybody. So we're going to come in quiet. So literally I hear, I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, oh, see what I just did? I call myself, oh, Bunny. So I'm coming in from the side. So I'm next to him and I'm going to nod my head, literally look at the ball, willing the ball into the other child's hand. What the bunny does, or the person in my session if we're role playing, or the child if I'm in an early childhood classroom, is the child will give the toy back. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's an influence approach. So in working with challenging behaviors, when I used to do the 4-session series, people would go back, apply that strategy and report. It was amazing. So if you've never tried the influence stance, try it this week. You can do it with older kids, younger kids, doesn't matter. The idea is instead of coming in loud, threatening, up here breathing, really stimulating that fight or flight or freeze, you're going to come in relaxed from the side, not making eye contact, and encouraging whatever behavior it is that you want. Again, help, right? For me, it helps to reframe it, because if I think, oh, they're doing it again, they never quit, I'm going to come in that higher level of breathing. I'm going to be in fight or flight or freeze, and that's going to stimulate that in the child. So what I want to do is think of, oh, they need my help. That's going to get me in the helpful stance, the more empathetic stance of, I'm going to be here to help you. Hey, it is stressful to care for these young children. It is so, there were so many days when I was doing this full time that I felt like, why don't you just stop? When despite my best efforts, some of these negative behaviors kept happening. My hope for you is that this week you will have less stress and more joy. If you take the time to work with toddlers, label those feelings, support those skills that they need to learn, you and the toddlers you care about will have less stress and more joy. And that's what we're all about here. I hope you're walking away with a tip or tool you find useful today. And remember, what you do matters. The kids that are in your care that you're doing these strategies with, they're not going to end up the 8-year-olds who are still hitting when they get upset. They won't be, because you're going to help support those skills starting in that toddler age when the brain is developing, when you're building the trajectory for the rest of that child's life. So thank you so much for all the wonderful things you do. And I will see you hopefully at a future training. Over and out.